Jesus mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine.
I think I would be right in saying that I've never gone after specific opportunities to serve God, except, as I said yesterday, to serve Him in Africa. That's because I think our service should be a response to God. It is God who takes the initiative in our call and in our sphere of service. When I offered for Africa and ended up in Brazil, what I learned then was that the important thing is to be available to God. We don't need to tell Him where we should be serving Him. He's probably got other ideas anyway, as I found out. Isaiah was in the temple when the vision of God's absolute glory and authority came to him, and the invitation from God to speak out or prophesy in God's name. I should like to read with you from Isaiah chapter 6, verses 1 to 8. Israel's vision, Isaiah's vision and commission. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord sitting on a throne high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above it stood seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face. With 2 he covered his feet. And with 2 he flew. And one cried to another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door were shaken by the voice of him who cried out, and the house was filled with smoke. So I said, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then one of the seraphim flew to me, having in his hand a live coal, which he had taken with the tongs from the altar. And he touched my mouth with it and said, Behold, this has touched your lips. Your iniquity is taken away, and your sin purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then I said, Here am I. Send me. I live in a bungalow in Birchington, which happens to be in a cul-de-sac. But I wouldn't wish to live my life of service to God in a cul-de-sac, or as we sometimes say, in a dead-end road. Much less should we try to put God in a cul-de-sac by limiting his ability to use us, by telling him where we should be. We need to be on the open road, allowing God to take us on the journey of our life. This will be exciting, sometimes daunting, but always worth the ride. Seldom in Brazil did we go where we would have done if it had been up to us. The fact is, what God most needs is our availability. God blesses our availability. God is glorified when we make ourselves available to him. Here am I, send me. Another passage from Isaiah speaks of God's direction for our lives. Chapter 30 and verses 18 to 21. Therefore the Lord will wait, that he may be gracious to you, and therefore he will be exalted, that he may have mercy on you. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all those who wait for him. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. You shall weep no more. He will be very gracious to you at the sound of your cry. When he hears it, he will answer you. And though the Lord gives you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet your teachers will not be moved into a corner anymore. But your eyes shall see your teachers. Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Whenever you turn to the right hand, or whenever you turn to the left. This passage also implies that a response is required of us. A response to God's provision in Jesus and also to the cross. God's provision and our response to that are the twin pillars of our relationship to him. Relationships are two-way. Otherwise, there is no relationship. Relationships involve acceptance of the other party to the relationship. In our relationship to God, it means acceptance of his sovereignty over our lives. On God's part, it guarantees security in adversity, purpose in what we do, a sense of well-being day to day. For this we were created, to live in the presence of God and to enjoy and serve him forever. As the Apostle Paul says, in him we live and move and have our being. He is the air we breathe. When our lives are typified by a daily walk with God, a daily response to his direction, we can then say we are living at the center of his will. And this is the safest place to be, a place of contentment, of inner peace and joy. After all, that's God's promise to us in Jesus. As we have seen, Isaiah was in the temple when he had his awesome experience of God's presence. The temple in Jerusalem was understood to be the dwelling place of God. God is in his temple, said the prophet Habakkuk. That was where God could be found and worshipped, where sacrifice was made to him. But God is not limited to a physical building. Solomon acknowledged this in his dedicatory prayer. Heaven and earth cannot contain you, let alone a building, however big, built with human hands. Galilee was the focus of Jesus' earthly ministry. Where we live our lives today is our Galilee. It is there that we will find him. We may come to church on a Sunday, but it is also from Monday to Saturday that he wants us to know him and to make him known, not only on special occasions in Jerusalem, but also in our Galilee as we go about our daily lives.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, my Savior all the day long.